Hi, everybody.
Hello.
For those that are unaware, my name is James Mayer, an integrative registered dietitian, environmental nutritionist.
I'm Dali Marin, integrative gut health dietitian, certified gastrointestinal nutritionist, and we are here for our monthly Good Gut Live.
Yes.
And I don't know how, it's the holiday season.
It's the holiday season.
I'm in denial.
What in
I'm
the
in shock,
world?
but it is. We are approaching
Wow.
the holidays now.
It's basically 2024 already, right? Let me know down below if you guys agree. I mean, once you start hearing about Halloween, it's already 2024, at least in my opinion. And really, as a company, as a private practice, we do a lot, and we've already been discussing 2024 since the summer, right? Like, oh, what's happening in 2024? And this is what we have coming on. So anyway, all of that to say, the topic of today is, what do I eat if you're having like bloating and gas and food intolerances? Maybe your kids are having allergies and their own GI issues. And really, for us guys, everything starts in the gut. If you're experiencing some form of chronic symptom, it's likely that it's beginning in the gut. So how can you navigate the holidays if you're having really any symptoms, especially IBS and gut symptoms? And really, it's important to not let these symptoms progress into IBS. And just to give a quick outline, really the progression is having some symptoms, right? Whether it's food intolerances, allergies, skin rashes like eczema, gut issues, and like, oh man, my gut's getting really leaky. So it's crossing over into that immune response, right? So that gets into the allergies, that immune response, that the activation of that leakiness. Then that can cross over into extreme inflammation, going into what's called inflammatory bowel disease, where you're just constantly inflamed in your bowels. And then that can even take a jump into full blown autoimmune disease, and taking it further into cancer, where your cells are just not able to repair, and they start to just self-replicate and get a little bit out of control. So it's pretty crazy. I know it's oversimplification, not to scare all of you,
I think
but
we're coming from is not to think about that, because we don't want you all to live in fear and not enjoy your life.
yes.
At least I don't.
No, I don't. No, I think, guys,
But
if you guys know us, education and knowledge is power. So
it
we
is.
want to empower you.
So it's knowing that that's there. And it's also knowing that you find balance, right? We don't show up to holidays and we're like, no, just pass me the broccoli and the
Yeah.
apples, and that's all we're going to be having, and that's all we're going to be enjoying. We find that balance there. What we're observing, and we've been observing both as dietitians, as parents, as people, there's not much balance anymore, right? It's every day is treated as a holiday when it comes to especially kids, right? Like,
Yeah.
so many days of the week, our daughter comes home and gives us candy that she was given by her teachers. Why? Why do you need candy on a Wednesday in Spanish class? I don't know. But she'll trade us for her stuff. She's like, I don't eat this. I don't want this. It's not. She recognized I don't want to give it to my friends because I love them and I want them to be their most vibrant selves as well. But during the holidays, I think it's even more compounded, where I think especially now we have 15,000 holiday events to attend. And food is a really big center of all of these different events. So it's just knowing what's out there. It's finding your balance and really helping yourself to heal with each meal, even during the holidays, because it's the food, it's the people you're around, right? If you have an amazing family who you love spending time with, that's wonderful. If you don't, you want to account of how that can affect your gut and how the people you're spending time with during the holidays can affect your gut as well. So you do really want to take all these different things into consideration. Maybe you're a little bit less active than usual. Maybe your vitamin D levels are a little bit less optimal than usual because you're not getting that sun exposure. Maybe you're a little bit less hydrated than usual because you're not sweating and you're not as thirsty. So it's really just understanding what's happening during the holidays. What am I balancing? And then how do I find that balance so I can still maintain a good gut and it's not, well, it's holiday season, let me just YOLO, and then in January I'm going to go visit James and Dahlia and they'll help me figure it out then. If it is that, no judgment. We love you all. Come to us still, but we really want to have you
Yeah.
feel as empowered and as informed going into the holiday season so you can really strategize. And, if you've been following us for a while, one of the things that we like saying is they're called holidays, not holiweeks, holimonths, or holiseasons, right? Like they're one day. Like Halloween is one day. Thanksgiving is one day. Hanukkah, a little bit different. That's more than one day. But, a lot of these holidays are like a 1 or 2 or, 5-day
Longer.
thing.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Enjoy yourself. Like if you're like, oh my gosh, I just absolutely love that babka my aunt makes during, Hanukkah, or I absolutely love this one mousse or this, reindeer trail mix that my family makes. Have those things that you enjoy,
Mhm.
but really kind of find that balance within them. Are you still infusing and inputting whole foods amongst some of those fun holiday foods? Are you having your fruits and vegetables? Are whole grains going to be available during these events, or are you having them before you go to the events? If you're like, nope, nothing's going to be available at the event, and I'm okay with that. How
Mhm.
are you finding your own personal balance? And, we want to share tips on just some different holiday statistics, holiday facts, and then how we find our balance, because guess what? We're real people too. And we have real families. Our families are not dietitians. Our families are, they're going to celebrate holidays the way they're going to celebrate holidays. So it's just really finding that balance.
So if you are watching this live, put your questions in. We want to hear from you, whether you're on Instagram or our YouTube or Facebook in our groups. And of course, Good Gut members, your questions are answered first. But anyone, this is a live Q&A. If you have questions like, yeah, what are you guys eating? I have IBS, and what should I do with XYZ? Put those questions in. And even if you're watching this later, comment down below. We love to see your questions, answer your questions. So, and then also check out marytout.com. Our Good Gut Holiday e-guide, which is completely free, is back, which shows you recipes that we're eating this season for a good gut holiday.
Cute stuff.
It's cute stuff
Little
too.
cute stuff
Our
too for the
Halloween e-guide's
holidays.
out as well,
Mhm.
so that's free. That's up on our blog, on our website. So just go to marytout.com. So I want to say all that, and if you guys have any questions, definitely pop them in down below. So
So
um,
let's start with
go
Halloween
for
because
it.
it's the first one coming up. We're 11 days out from Halloween. And guys, I found these statistics and they were really surprising. So there's one statistic that shows 26% of Americans eat candy on a daily basis already, Halloween or not. So that's
Yeah.
a quarter of our nation right there. We're eating candy on a daily basis. Like I was saying, our daughter comes home almost daily from school and gives us candy that she's been
We
given
trade
at school.
her.
So this is kids, this is adults. We saw the statistics. Studies show people consume up to 675 grams of sugar on Halloween. Totally get it. Like it's a holiday. Enjoy your favorite Halloween candies. But,
That's roughly 3 cups, right?
it's 168 teaspoons of sugar.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to be between Halloween drinks, Halloween cookies, if you're having Halloween cakes, the candies, things like that.
Yeah.
So again, it's getting into that mindset and thinking, do added and refined sugars irritate my gut? Especially, studies show that some of these forms of sugar can be a little bit more fermentable. Maybe they can generate a little bit more inflammation as well.
Mhm.
What else is incorporated into some of these sweet foods, like the desserts? Are there artificial dyes, artificial colors in there? Because you want to consider also how that's going to affect your gut. So we're not saying not to enjoy some Halloween candy. We're saying find ones that you feel you're best with. So
Mhm.
that way, going into the next days or the next week, you're not like, oh man, that dairy candy that I ate just really wrecked my gut and I regret it now. Or I think I had way too much and my gut is now throbbing or my gut is now really uncomfortable. So it's really just staying informed so that way you can be like, okay, what can I do to help mitigate that? Some of our favorite tips that we like recommending, whether you have kids and maybe your kids are going to go trick or treating, or you're going to Halloween events, or you're somebody who's going to a Halloween party. And we know those fun things, they're cute, they're going to be there. So before we take our daughter out to any of these events, we make sure that she has a solid meal before we go
Mhm.
out. Because I think what ultimately ends up happening, and we've seen this with her friends when we've joined them for trick-or-treating rather, they're eating candy the whole time because they're hungry. So usually trick-or-treating is right around dinner time, and these kids are just eating candy for dinner, basically. So give your kids, give yourself, if you're the one going to a fun holiday party, give yourself a nice solid meal before you go.
Mhm.
Make sure you're hydrated before you go as well. Get a good night's sleep the night before, because we do know that our circadian rhythm and our sleep habits are going to really influence our cravings. So if the night before you stayed up late getting your costume together or planning, you're maybe less likely to make some solid, really whole food choices the next day. So set yourself up for success. Really be mindful. We just sent out a blog on our website,
Mhm.
and we talked about this. We talked about some of our favorite tips for Halloween. So if you go to our website right now, marythealth.com, you go to our vlogs, we do have a 5 essential tips and 5 things that we are recommending you're mindful of this Halloween.
Mhm.
So those are some of the tips that we shared. Like Jane said, links are spooktacular 6 good gut Halloween treats that you can consider cute things like a bean dip, little apple spiders, things like that. So that way they're still festive and they're still cute, but they're ones that maybe are a little bit more nutrient dense and ones that you're being a little bit more mindful of. We know for our daughter, she's all about it. She's like, hey, can you pack me a cute Halloween lunch? So we'll do things like a little jack-o'-lantern orange. Or last year on Halloween, I just packed everything orange in her lunch, orange and black. So I put black grapes and I put orange bell peppers and I put blueberries and just things that were black and orange, basically, and kind of themed her lunch. I know it's a little Pinteresty, which I'm not, to be honest. I am not very
I was
artistic.
just thinking
I'm
that
not very
for me.
Pinteresty.
Yeah.
But we make it work, right? We still want this girl to have fun instead of her being like, dang, I got broccoli in my lunch again. We want to make it fun for her as well. So if you want any of those ideas and you want to practice some of those things, you can definitely check some things out. We also got some cool options. We should have brought it up. But
Oh.
Scout right now is having a spooking sale. So it's 25% off, because maybe you're like, I don't want to give out candy. I want to give out something different. Those
Mhm.
little kid-sized Scout bars are perfect. So that could
Mhm.
be a really cool thing you're giving out for Halloween, especially if you know you don't get that many trick-or-treaters. But even if you do and you're like, hey, I want to give these kids something a little bit more good gut, Scout has awesome offerings, and
Mhm.
so does Love Corn.
Yeah.
Love Corn has some cute little things for Halloween as well. So if you want to do that, definitely do that. We've done things in the past, like
Mhm.
we're that house. So I've given out
And we
little,
haven't gotten egged,
no,
so we're good.
not even when we lived in
Yep.
a little bit of a more intense area.
Yeah.
But yeah, we gave out little tangerines that we drew little jack-o'-lantern faces on. I did bananas where I just got a piece of Kleenex and rubber banded it on top of a banana and drew a little ghost
Yeah.
face on that. I've given out Halloween pencils and stickers and things like that, because I just know, like, I don't want to give out candy. So they're getting enough of that. They're getting, 675 grams on average. So, or up to 675 grams. So if you wanted to do something different, so many options. You can read more about them on our latest blog.
And we are, and this really applies to kind of all the holidays. I mean, we are kind of those people where Halloween and Thanksgiving, but especially Halloween, we're kind of the more traditional family with how we celebrate the holidays, and it really works for what Delia is saying across all holidays. So whether
Mhm.
like this is also in the blog of just things we avoid, so like the artificial colors and the artificial flavors and artificial sweeteners, and kind of why that is, really being mindful across all the holidays of excessive sugar. And this speaks to preventing gut issues. This also speaks to if you currently are either think you have gut issues or you have gut issues and you've been diagnosed. So it's very important to just be mindful. I know it's kind of like, man, we are those sticks in the mud, right? Where we like being mindful. We enjoy kind of, whether it's making the dish that is the healthier option when we're getting together with family, or when we're hosting Thanksgiving, we have a lot of healthy options, right? And
Whole food
we just
options,
feel
yeah.
good, healthy, whole food, plant-based options. We just feel good with that. We feel good the next day. we've just kind of seen the chronic disease run rampant in our family. We love kind of preventing that. We have our own health stories. If you guys have been following us for a while, I'm sure you've seen that. So we love to kind of just share this and give tips, and putting that up on our website or wherever, whatever medium you are obtaining this information. It's very, very important to us and near and dear to our heart, as like all of you, I'm sure, know somebody or you yourself are experiencing chronic health issues and health issues that affect your gut and beyond. So yeah.
So it takes those times to be like, all right, let me strategize a little bit, because it really goes back to that, like, failure to plan can sometimes bring you to that plan to fail, because it's everywhere. I hear it from my patients who tell me, like, my coworkers have candy dishes everywhere, and if I don't bring my fruit with me, I end up eating that candy and then I have a stomach ache. So it's not to say, like, never eat and enjoy those things, but if it's stealing your joy in life, if it's bringing you to a place where you're so distracted by your symptoms, you're not present in your life, it's something that you want to find a little bit more balance with. Find those things that are still super tasty to you, but enable you to continue to live your best life the next day, where you're not going to have joint pain and brain fog and fatigue for the next couple days, and you're recovering from that day. So whether that's alcohol, right? Whether that's hyper refined carbohydrates, whether that's an excessive amount of saturated fat, it goes back to that mindfulness and really just being mindful, asking yourself, what is my body speaking to me when I'm eating some of these different foods? And then what are my alternates? How am I going to mitigate some of this? How am I going to choose things that are a little bit different? So it's talking about it now. Again, we're not quite into the holiday season. It hasn't quite started yet, but we really wanted to plant these seeds with you all and prepare you to get you in that mindset for you to be saying, let me think about this. I'm going to think about things to do a little bit differently. Whether, again, that's for you, for your neighbors and what you're passing out to them, for your family members and what you're feeding them. Just finding that balance. If you're the one who's like, I'm in charge of the cake, I make grandma's famous cake recipe, great. Bring a fruit bowl as well. Try to find, both, so you all can enjoy it. And, it's finding that balance for everybody, because what we've really found, especially in our families, is, and we've become really fortunate. Like, my family has embraced it. My family that we get together with, my sister is pretty mindful and very health conscious. My cousins now that we spend holidays with, very much on the same page. So it's like not even something that we have to talk about anymore. We just all live it and we all do it. But it wasn't that way, 14, 15 years ago when, James and I first started going to family events together. It was us who were bringing these different, more whole food dishes, and our families were like, oh, what's this weird thing you brought to us this time? But sure enough, they would all eat it. They would all have it. They would all try it. And a lot of times they were all thankful that we would bring those dishes, because they were like, oh, this is so nice to have some fresh, crunchy fruit, because there are so many desserts here. And it's just so nice to have that change. Or for, James and I, it's like, okay, we had our one dessert, but we want to have that balance within the rest of the plate. So be that person to really be proactive and make some of those things. And like we said, you can still make them festive and cute, but you can still make them very much whole food.
And honestly, guys, and a big tip I can give as well is, it's great for the whole foods, but you can also turn these whole foods into amazing dishes that even your uncle who eats hot dogs all day will enjoy, right? And I have that uncle, so I speak from experience. So we have our banana bread recipe dropping, where you can make banana bread. Delia just made peanut butter cookies recently. We do have like our amazing good gut brownies that will be dropping on the blog as well. So, and a lot of these recipes are in our e-guides on the website, but a lot of these recipes we've gleaned from other amazing plant-based chefs out there, and these chefs who probably you follow on Instagram as well. And then it kind of speaks to the science of going, why are these creators and chefs and dietitians and other really cool plant-based doctors and just integrative doctors in general opting for better ingredients, looking for alternatives. Why are they putting chickpeas in those cookies and not using, high
Using
fructose
almond
corn
flour.
syrup and using almond flour and all these really great kind of healthier upgrades, we'd say. Why are they doing that? Well, it really speaks to the research of just going, let's add more phytonutrients where we can. Let's add more fiber where we can. Let's add, really great quality synergistic effects of food. Because when you are getting these great whole food ingredients, you are getting a multitude of different effects on your gut, which ripple into the rest of your body, right? So whether it is helping with your blood sugar, whether it is helping with the gas or the smelly gas or the stomach cramps or your hormone health, right? So this has a massive, massive ripple effect through starting, and the portal is your gut microbiome and the reason being is really that is where you're taking the outside world and putting it inside, right? I don't think a lot of us really think of it that way, where I'm literally taking the outside world and we call it food. We call it banana bread. We call it an apple. We call it steak that your uncle barbecued or whatever. And you're putting it inside of your body, right? And that's pretty cool when you think about it. It's really, really cool to go, I'm going to take the outside world, put it in my body, and I'm going to make it part of my body. Really, really, really amazing when you think about it. So in that sense, we ask all of you and our patients to be like, what are you putting in your body, right? What are you allowing to come into your body? And so that's why we're getting these alternatives and these other options. And we're giving these tips to really empower you to go, is there something better I could be putting in my body that's going to then definitely 100% directly translate into you feeling better? It really goes back to that old saying. That's really one of the old sayings in health and public health, like you are what you eat. It's literally true. Science is now showing us you literally are what you eat, right? From that carrot to that muffin to hopefully not, but the gas station pizza, that is literally going to become part of your body. And it's through the medium of our microbes. Our microbes are transforming that into pieces of your body, quite literally. So that is really cool to us. And that's why we do what we do. And that's why we want to empower you. So if you are experiencing IBS or not, or you want to prevent that or runs in the family, you can make these healthy swaps, these healthy changes. You can plan and prepare beforehand so you're not, in trouble or using, let's say a lot of you are taking some holiday time off. You're not using that time sick for half of it, right? I don't know anything I want to add to that, but
Yeah. And I think, one thing that is always needing to be said is check in with, like James said, you're taking time off work, you're spending extra income on gifts and dinners and all these extra holiday events. And stats show actually American adults report that their stress levels are about 5 times higher during the holidays.
I can see that.
Asking yourself, with this added stress that I have, am I stress eating? Am I comfort eating? Am I allowing myself to feel with each meal so I can heal with each meal? So what are your safeguards against that? Are you still trying to incorporate your daily movement? Are you still making sure that you are adequately hydrated during the holidays to combat some of that stress? Again, are you eating some of those whole foods? Are you protecting your boundaries around those maybe less pleasant people that you're spending time with during the holidays? So how are you in tune with your stress, and how are you keeping that in check so it doesn't kind of just steamroll you and then you don't have healthy outlets and you're turning to food for that?
Yeah. Big time. And we see that. We see holiday stress increases. We see visits to the emergency room and urgent care increase around the holidays. And not to get too negative, but this is what we want to prevent, right? This is what we want to kind of curb everyone away from. And really, it does go back to what from the outside are you putting in your inside? And that, as I was just talking about, was food. But Dahlia also brought up emotions and energy. And this isn't woo-woo. This isn't like, energy. It's a level, or it's an area of science called biofield research. And this is true, where we know, when someone else is stressed, you can smell those stress hormones on them. That stress can be transferred. That energy can be transferred. If someone is negative for the holidays, if someone is maybe drinking a little bit too much and bringing that negative kind of alcoholic vibe, right? It really does bring down everybody in that party, in that setting. I think we've all kind of experienced that as adults. And it's funny going from that kid perspective of the holidays to then the adult perspective and go, oh, that's pretty toxic what was happening there, right? It's okay to have that real talk, and you want to be around a community and people where that real talk is welcome, where you can create a healthy environment and healthy habits that are not just going to affect you physically, right, as we talk about gut health and what you're eating, but mentally and emotionally. So
Mhm.
lots to say here, but
We want to
we
answer
see a
some of your
question.
questions. So if you have any questions, or if you're like, this always gets me during the holidays and
Yeah.
it sends my gut into a spiral, whether that's food or stress or anything else, this is your time to really ask us so we can really help you have a good gut holiday and not a grumbling gut holiday where you're just left in pain. And this is a really good question that we have. Do you have any advice on how to communicate food allergies or dietary needs to friends and family during the holidays?
Mhm.
Yes. So I think if they ask, it's always great to recommend different things that you are intolerant to or not digesting well. Maybe ask them, just instead of being like, hey, this is what I need, ask, do you think that there will be any gluten free options, dairy free options, plant based options, so that I know what I can plan to bring? And that's usually how I'm saying it. I'm always saying, hey, I want to bring something. Are there already other plant-based options or other gluten-free options? How can you help me plan what I'm bringing to the party as well? So really just kind of, again, offering your own help and just making sure you've got your own back. That's what we do. We're like,
Yeah.
okay, let's make sure we're bringing ourselves a good plant protein. Let's make sure we have a great starch intermingled with it, and then some non-starchy veggies, and a lot of times we'll do a dessert. So we're bringing with us a couple different dishes just so we
Yeah.
can plan, like, all right, if it's something that either doesn't meet our dietary needs, or it's something that we don't generally feel well with, or we're like, it's that one family member who always is using some sketchy practices for their cooking and we'd rather not eat too much of it or have that be our whole meal. We usually make sure we're covering ourselves. But sometimes we say that and our family members are like, oh no, I'm making this, and this. And you're
We're
like,
like,
amazing. All right. I will bring a dessert, or I will bring a plant protein, or I will bring something to complement the things that you're already making. So that's my way of phrasing it. So that way it's not like, hey, what are you doing for me? But hey, how can I help everyone? And then like, hey, what's available?
and I would say, yeah, that's a great tip. That's probably number one. And number two is I would just add consistency. Like if you have specific dietary needs, like I think gluten free is a big one. Like there's a
Mm.
lot who are celiac, and that's very, very important. You should definitely stay away from gluten. There are others that are just more gluten sensitive. And you kind of go like, oh, my family doesn't get it, so I'm just gonna eat gluten and just not feel good.
Because
But
I don't want to offend them.
because you don't want to offend them, you don't want to make a fuss, but really it's like make a fuss a little bit, right? Or just let them know, or bring your own gluten-free things. And if you're consistent with that, a family that loves you, like I know my younger nieces and nephews, or I can imagine Layla when she's older, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, Layla, go ahead and eat gluten and have a stomach ache. No, when your family loves you, they're gonna accommodate that. They're gonna see like, oh wow, so and so is consistently saying she's gluten free. Let's make sure there's something gluten free for him or her, right? And so it's being consistent with it, because over time, now when we go to potlucks or dinner parties, we've built up a community that gets us, knows us, loves us. And literally we went to like a potluck that was like, right, what's on it, and
What
and
allergens
what
are in your
allergens are
dish?
there. And it's like, wow, and everyone's on the same page. Or we go to like family potlucks or family parties, and it's like a whole spread of like plant-based, gluten-free,
Yes, we have the
even
plant-based side and the
organic.
non-plant-based side.
Yeah, organic. Like, oh, sometimes my aunt's like, this is organic too, and I'm like, awesome. Or some of Dahlia's family as well, and it feels really good because you're doing what Dahlia said, right? You're bringing options where people can taste and go, oh wow, that's gluten free or plant based, or wow, and then you're being consistent with it, right? So year after year, it's getting better. But I see another question popping in my head.
I always just like to say, like, if my 70 and 80-year-old aunts can
Yeah,
eventually
can
catch
do it.
on, my cute little Arab aunts, and they will then say, like, hey, I made you these grape leaves that are, they say
Yeah,
they're veggie, right? To them, we are veggie.
a
So they'll
veggie.
tell us, like, hey, we made you this is veggie, this is, I made it for you. And it's so sweet. We so appreciate it because we know they don't have to do that, but
Mhm.
they feel that food is
It's the
love.
love.
They have that love for us, and they're considerate of the different things that we eat and don't eat. So it's never
Yep.
expected, but it's always appreciated.
Yep. All right, we'll see
Mhm.
what other questions pop in, and then so here, best tincture for
Ooh.
constipation to lower stress. So I'm guessing for
Mhm.
constipation and stress overall. Yeah, best tincture. Do you have a real
Well,
good tincture?
so things that I really like to prevent constipation, especially during the holidays or when you're eating foods that just you didn't prepare them, maybe they would constipate you otherwise.
Mhm,
Make sure you're hydrated. So drink at least half your body weight in ounces of water.
mhm,
Eat enough both insoluble fiber that acts like a broom to push things through, and then make sure you're getting that soluble fiber to drink up water and hydrate your stool. So some of my favorite soluble fiber foods: kiwis. 2 kiwis
mhm,
a day. You can do half it or 2 tablespoons of chia a day, or you can do half a cup of dragon fruit a day. So maybe you're making a fruit bowl that has kiwi and dragon fruit in it. So eat those things to keep things moving. If you need, maybe take some magnesium. And I really like bringing along peppermint oil capsules whenever I'm going to these parties because I'm like, I don't want to sit there and be bloated. So peppermint oil capsules can be really helpful. But yeah, make sure you're getting in enough, but not an exaggerated amount of fiber. So you're not just super constipated. If you need to use other things for fiber, there's definitely other things you can use, like ginger, things to help produce more serotonin in the gut. So ask your care team. As far as stress goes, I think really, again, just having boundaries is important for stress. And then
mhm,
I always, always, always highly recommend things like L-theanine. I love
mhm,
L-theanine. It is a compound, you can find it in places like green tea, but L-theanine is a compound that helps relax your nerves. So L-theanine can be so great to kind of just take that edge off. And we know there are other things like holy basil or ashwagandha, skullcap, lemon balm. There's different things also that can help kind of calm our nerves a little bit.
mhm.
So maybe seeking some of those different things out and seeing which ones are most helpful for you. But there's a couple different tinctures out there, like Herb Farm has a couple good ones. Other ones out there that I like, but L-theanine is one that I'm a really big fan of.
Yeah, very cool. And then yeah, and as far as stress and other areas, I mean, yeah, just making sure you're getting that rest. I know even from time to time, we can go to bed a little too late. We can, be lacking on our sleep and just feeling that extra, anxious feeling. Just kind of you're running on those adrenaline, neurotransmitters as opposed to just more of the natural rest and digest neurotransmitters and operating in a different level when you're getting proper rest, especially around the holidays, especially if you're planning a lot of things around the holidays, if you're hosting holidays, make sure you're getting that rest. And it's kind of a
Mhm.
great way to prevent that extra stress and anxiety, even depression around this time. So,
Mm,
being able
so much
to
higher.
speak to someone, being able to connect, reaching out, whether it's someone professionally or whether it's someone personally, your significant other, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your, whoever you trust to kind of talk to and open up to. So very important. Another question I'm seeing that I I a lot of times get really sleepy after eating, whether it's on the holidays, so whether it is after a big meal or with a lot of sweets. So anything to help with kind of that drowsiness and sleepiness. So what I would say is that
Mm.
that does kind of speak to feeling really like blood sugar and how your liver, how your pancreas is handling what you're eating. And that is definitely, these are like kind of secondary organs to your digestion, right? So things in digestion are needing a lot of blood flow, things in digestion and in your digestion are needing a lot of energy, if your secondary organs are kind of lagging, right? If your pancreas is overworked, if your liver's overworked, you might kind of get that slump where you're just like, I gotta take a nap. I am, especially if you've spiked your blood sugar with like a candy or dessert, or even lots of animal fat. This is one that gets overlooked big time.
Or amino acids like tryptophan.
Right. Tryptophan mixed with a bunch of cholesterol and saturated fat. That is a recipe for nappy time, because that tryptophan is making you sleepy. Yes. But also, if your liver is struggling to process all that fat, if you're drinking alcohol plus the sugar, and that's usually the holiday combo. You had a little bit alcohol, you had maybe a little bit or a lot of sugar, and then you're eating a high fat animal based meal. That is the sleepy time combo. And what animal fat can do is sometimes inhibit the signaling for insulin. It can inhibit this and the cellular level of that signaling to say, open up cell and take in some of the sugar. And on top of that, that alcohol is essentially sugar. Plus, you're eating refined sugar, and then you're inhibiting that signal. So I know that's a lot there, but so a way to kind of help with that is just balance for every kind of, if you are going to eat something high fat or something really processed, balance it with something that's not, right?
Yeah.
Just balance it in that sense.
Have
But
some nice non-starchy fiber to go along with
Yeah.
it. So your body kind of can pace how quickly it's processing it. And then you're
yeah,
less likely to be that person in the corner sitting on the couch asleep
Asleep.
at your family event instead of spending time with the people that you love. You really
Yeah.
want to be present. You don't want to eat yourself into a slump. You don't want to eat your emotions. Finding that balance and really being realistic and honest with yourself and asking yourself, what am I using food for right now? How am I viewing food during this family event?
Yeah. So I think that's great. I think, a lot here. So we always get this question. You can go back and watch this, whether you're in one of our private groups or whether you're on YouTube. You can go to Mary Talth on YouTube to watch this, kind of go back and comment down below. All our links will be down below. But we really appreciate this time, guys. We love it. I know things are getting crazy. We have a lot going on this weekend. Maybe you all are going to Halloween parties. And the next, like we said, is Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then it's the new year or traveling. So we know a lot's going on. We see it, we feel it a lot in our patients and our community. So we just wanted to touch base, connect, and really check in and make sure you're all having a good time and healing with each meal, no matter what's going on, even all the craziness in the world. We want to even touch on that. If you are spending a lot of time watching the news and having the TV on, take a break.
Or social
media, go outside, go for a hike, connect with your friends, find that community that you can consistently connect with and really share positive energy with. That is really, at the end of the day, something extremely, extremely valuable. What do we got? We got any tips to stay hydrated during a busy holiday season, especially during winter, where we tend to forget to get fluids? Yeah.
Good question.
I mean, overall, I would say pretty quickly, eating your hydration is key. This is again pointing to eating plants, right? If you can eat your hydration, whether that's a juicy tomato. I know we've been enjoying figs and dragon fruit. We've been eating our dragon fruit that we go in the back and it's nice and juicy.
And a lot of those are summer produce, though. We live in California,
Yeah,
so I think
okay.
we're a little bit in a unique situation where we just have access to these things for a lot longer because it's like 85 degrees outside today. So if you're not in a tropical climate or a really warm climate like we are, buy those things frozen. So even after the fact, you can always get those hydrating foods and buying them frozen. So those berries, those summer fruits, freeze things when they're in season and they're more affordable and plentiful. Freeze them so that way you're like, ooh, I want some watermelon or I want some raspberries. Pop them out of your freezer and add those so that way you're getting that food hydration. Or you're adding those to your water so that your water tastes better and you don't need as much of a reminder to include something that tastes really good. So if you make your water taste really good, it's easier to drink it. If it's really cool where you are and it's a cold climate and maybe, you don't want a cup of ice water, have some nice warm beverages. So I love herbal tea. herbal tea can be such a great way to get in hydration when it's chilly outside, and it warms you up, and it's just festive, right? If you're getting like a little cinnamon spice, or if you're into pumpkin spice or peppermint, I love, love, love those warm holiday drinks. So having your thermos around with you can be really helpful. We're the type to just like have our emotional support water bottles with us all the time. So I unconsciously bring this everywhere, but it's such that muscle memory for me right now. I kind of don't go anywhere without my water bottle. I have a straw water bottle because I just find it's easier to just keep doing what you're doing, drink out of the straw. James isn't a super straw fan.
I like straw water bottles.
So he has his little screw top. I don't drink well. I notice if I have a bottle like this, I drink probably half of what I would drink with a bottle like this, just because I'm such a busybody. So I really go for the straw water bottles. But that really helps keep me hydrated. And in our Good Gut Holiday Guide, which is free on our website, we do have holiday drink ideas. So we have some Good Gut horchata, we have a spiced cider, we have just different ideas for beverages as well. We've done things where we've even added like cranberries and a rosemary sprig and different in-season things like that to just a sparkling water to make it festive and yummy and cute as well. I mean, you can't discount that cute factor.
And I want to say one last thing on hydration, just really quickly, where it's not just about like, hey, just chug a bunch of water, right? Like just chug your water. It really, hydration is more about the electrical balance, right? We are electrical beings where we're sending signals. If you think about it, the reason why I'm talking and moving my hand and being able to multitask and do what we do is really it's electrical signals from my brain through our nervous system to where it needs to go. And just like any type of electrical signal, it needs that conductivity. That conductivity is coming from electrolytes. They are basically metals and minerals in our body. So this again speaks to, we can't say it enough, is eating and making sure you're replenishing those hydrating plant foods that are rich in these minerals and these healthy metals and these phytonutrients that help with that charge of the water, that help with the charge of your body. And really nothing can replace that, right? Not even if you get a fancy machine that, you know, does that to the water and does all these crazy, you might hear a lot of crazy things out there, but nothing is going to compare to the water inside of fruits and vegetables, right? So that is really, really key and truly amazing as more and more research comes out on that as well. So I think that was a lot there. So thank you all so much. Again, keep an eye out. Make sure you're on our newsletter list. We're going to be launching a giveaway. We're doing a really cool giveaway for the holidays where you're going to get a nice prize pack. I don't know if you guys noticed our Heal with Each Meal stickers, and we're slowly dripping out some cool stuff with Heal with Each Meal. And soup season's coming up, so stay tuned for that. Winter is truly gut healing season and soup season, so we're going to be educating and doing some great things with soups. So stay tuned, guys. We're really excited. We have a lot coming, and we hope you all heal with each meal and have a good gut holiday. And until next time, remember, every month, at least one Good Gut Live, as well as a dietitian talk. So we go live twice a month, and make sure you don't miss it by being on our newsletter, following us, subscribing, all that good stuff down below. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.